Bruno Fernandes drops bombshell. Manchester United wanted me gone. Welcome back to United Daily Updates, your number one trusted source for everything Manchester United. Before we dive into this massive story, make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We bring you the real news, the honest analysis, and the insider information that matters to true United fans. No fake stories. No drama for clicks. Just the truth about our club. Today we need to talk about something huge. Something that will make you angry. Something that shows exactly what is wrong at Manchester United right now. Bruno Fernandes, our captain, the player who has carried this team for years, has just revealed that the club wanted him to leave. Not the fans. Not the manager. The club. The people running Manchester United were happy to let our best player walk away for money. Let me break down everything you need to know about this shocking revelation. The interview that changed everything. Bruno Fernandes gave an interview to Canal 11, which is owned by the Portuguese Football Federation. And in that interview, he did not hold back. He told the truth about what happened this summer when Al Hilal came calling with their massive offer. The Saudi Arabian club were prepared to pay £100 million to sign Bruno. They offered him wages of up to £700,000 per week. That is an insane amount of money. Life-changing money. Money that would set up his family for generations. But here is the thing. Bruno stayed at Manchester United. He turned down all that money. He chose to stay and fight for this club. And what did he get in return? The feeling that the people running the club did not really want him anyway. Let me read you what Bruno said. These are his exact words and they will shock you. Bruno said he felt from the club it was if you go it is not so bad for us, adding that it hurt him and made him sad. This is your captain. This is a player who has given everything for Manchester United. And he felt like the club did not care if he left. He went on to say something even more damning. He told the directors he thinks they did not have the courage to make that decision because the manager wanted him, but if he said he wanted to leave even with the manager wanting him to stay the club would let him go. Read that again. The club did not have the courage to tell Bruno they wanted to sell him. They were too scared to say it to his face. But he knew. He could feel it. And that is what makes this so sad. Why this is so important. You might be thinking, why does this matter? Why should we care about what Bruno felt or what the club wanted? Let me tell you why this is massive. Bruno Fernandes has been Manchester United's best player for the last 5 years. He came to Old Trafford in January 2020 and instantly transformed the team. He brought energy. He brought goals. He brought leadership. Look at his numbers. 103 goals and 93 assists in 307 appearances. Those are incredible statistics. In the darkest days of recent United history, Bruno was the shining light. When everyone else was underperforming, Bruno was delivering week after week. He won Player of the Year. He won Players' Player of the Year. His teammates respect him. The fans love him. The manager wants to build the team around him. And yet the people running the club were happy to cash in. They were ready to take the £100 million and let him go. What does that tell you about the priorities at Manchester United right now? What does that say about the values of the people in charge? It tells you that money matters more than loyalty. It tells you that accountants are making decisions instead of football people. It tells you that Manchester United has lost its way. The Al Hilal offer. Let me give you the full story of what happened with Al Hilal because it is important to understand just how tempting this offer was. Al Hilal were prepared to pay €120 million and treble Bruno's Manchester United wages. Some reports said the total package would be worth £200 million over 3 years. That is absolutely mind-blowing money. The president of Al Hilal called Bruno personally. Ruben Neves, who plays for Al Hilal and is Bruno's Portugal teammate, sent him messages trying to convince him to come. They wanted him to play in the Club World Cup. They rolled out the red carpet. And here is something interesting. This was not the first time Al Hilal tried to sign Bruno. He revealed that Jorge Jesus, the famous Portuguese coach who was at Al Hilal, had already called him back in 2023. So this has been going on for a while. Bruno could have earned so much more money. He admitted that himself. He said the difference between what he earns at United and what he could have earned in Saudi Arabia is massive. But money was not what guided his decision. And that is what makes him special. That is what makes him a true Manchester United player. Why Bruno stayed. So if the money was incredible and the club seemed happy for him to go, why did Bruno Fernandes stay at Manchester United? He gave several reasons in his interview and they are all worth talking about. First, his family. Bruno spoke to his wife Anna about the decision. And she asked him a simple question. Have you achieved everything you wanted to achieve at the club? The answer was no. Bruno has not won the trophies he wanted to win at Manchester United. He has not fulfilled his dreams here. And his wife knew that would bother him. She knew he would regret leaving with unfinished business. Second, his love for the club. Bruno said he genuinely loves Manchester United. Despite everything. Despite the disappointments. Despite the struggles. He loves this club and wants to succeed here. Third, the conversation with Ruben Amorim. The new manager wanted Bruno to stay. He told him he was central to his plans. He made it clear that Bruno would be a key part of rebuilding Manchester United. And that mattered to Bruno. Fourth, he wants to play at the highest level. Bruno said if he ever goes to Saudi Arabia in the future, it will not be just for money. It will be when he is ready for a lifestyle change. When his kids want sunshine instead of Manchester rain. When he has achieved what he wants in Europe. Right now, he still feels capable of playing in the big competitions. The Champions League. The Premier League. He is not ready to step away from that level yet. These are the reasons Bruno stayed. Love for the club. Belief in the manager. Unfinished business. The desire to compete at the top level. Notice what is missing from that list? Support from the people running the club. Feeling wanted by the executives. Belief that the hierarchy values what he brings. Those things were not there. And that is the problem. What Bruno said about loyalty. One of the most powerful parts of Bruno's interview was when he talked about loyalty. And what he said should make every United fan both proud and angry at the same time. He said the issue of loyalty is not viewed the same way it used to be. He could have left. He could have earned much more money. But he decided to stay. And here is the key part. He said he could have left like many people do and said he wants to leave, he does not want to train, he just wants to leave for 20 or 30 million so they pay him more on the other side, but he never did that. Think about what he is saying there. He is talking about players who force moves. Players who down tools. Players who refuse to train until they get their transfer. Players who put themselves before the club. Bruno could have done that. He could have made it easy for United to sell him cheap and pocket a huge signing bonus from Al Hilal. That is how a lot of modern transfers work. But he did not. Because he has integrity. Because he respects Manchester United. Because he understands what it means to be captain of this club. He trained hard. He played every game. He gave his all. And then he made a decision based on what he felt was right, not what would make him the most money. That is loyalty. That is character. That is what a captain should be. And how was he rewarded? By feeling like the club did not really value him anyway. The bigger problem at Manchester United. This Bruno Fernandes situation is not just about one player and one transfer saga. It is a symptom of a much bigger problem at Manchester United. The club has lost its identity. The people making decisions at the top do not understand what Manchester United is supposed to be about. We used to be a club that valued loyalty. That stuck by our players. That built teams around special talents and gave them time to succeed. Now we are a club that looks at players as assets on a balance sheet. If someone offers big money, the instinct is to sell. Never mind what it does to the team. Never mind what message it sends. Just think about the profit and loss statement. This is not how Manchester United should operate. This is not how we became one of the biggest clubs in the world. Sir Alex Ferguson built teams around special players. He gave them time. He backed them through difficult periods. He made them feel valued and important. Can you imagine Sir Alex being happy to sell Cristiano Ronaldo or Wayne Rooney just because someone offered a lot of money? Can you imagine him thinking it was fine to let Roy Keane or Eric Cantona go if the price was right? No. Because he understood that some players are more valuable than what anyone would pay for them. He understood that chemistry and leadership and quality cannot always be replaced with money. The current people running Manchester United do not seem to understand that. And that is why we are in this mess. What this means for the future. So where do we go from here? What does this Bruno Fernandes revelation mean for Manchester United moving forward? First, it highlights how important Ruben Amorim is. The fact that Bruno stayed largely because of conversations with the manager shows that Amorim has real influence. He can convince players to believe in his project. That is huge. Second, it shows that we need changes at boardroom level. The people making decisions about transfers and player retention are not getting it right. They are not thinking like a football club should think. Something needs to change there. Third, it puts even more pressure on the team to succeed this season. Bruno stayed despite having doubts about whether he was valued. He turned down life-changing money. Now the club needs to justify that faith. We need to win trophies. We need to get back into the Champions League. We need to show Bruno he made the right decision. Fourth, it might affect how other players view the club. If word gets around that Manchester United does not really value loyalty, that they are happy to sell anyone if the price is right, it becomes harder to attract and keep top players. Why would someone commit to United if they think the club will push them out the door when convenient? And finally, it shows that Bruno Fernandes is even more important to this club than we thought. Not just for what he does on the pitch, but for the example he sets. In an era where loyalty is rare, where players chase money at every opportunity, Bruno chose to stay and fight. That leadership is priceless. How fans should feel. I know a lot of United fans will be feeling conflicted after hearing Bruno's interview. On one hand, we are proud that he stayed and turned down all that money. On the other hand, we are angry that he ever felt undervalued by the club. That is exactly how we should feel. Both emotions are valid and justified. We should be grateful to have a captain like Bruno. Someone who puts the club before personal financial gain. Someone who still believes Manchester United can get back to the top. Someone who is willing to work through the difficult times rather than taking the easy way out. But we should also be furious at the people running the club. How did we get to a point where our best player, our captain, feels like the club does not really want him? How did we create a situation where Bruno had to tell the directors they lacked courage? This is Manchester United. Players should be fighting to come here. Players who are here should feel valued and supported. There should never be a situation where our captain thinks the club would rather have the money than have him. Something is badly wrong at Old Trafford. And until the people at the top understand what this club is supposed to be about, we will keep having these problems. What needs to change? Let me be clear about what needs to happen at Manchester United to prevent situations like this in the future. First, we need football people making football decisions. Not accountants. Not bankers. People who understand the game. People who know that some players are worth more than any transfer fee. Second, we need better communication between the board and the players. If Bruno felt undervalued, that is a failure of communication. Players should know where they stand. They should feel supported and appreciated. Third, we need a proper long-term plan. Stop thinking about quick profits from player sales. Start thinking about building a team that can compete for major trophies. That means keeping your best players and adding quality around them. Fourth, we need to restore the values that made Manchester United great. Loyalty. Commitment. Putting the club first. These things matter. They should be rewarded, not taken for granted. And finally, we need owners who care about more than just money. Owners who understand what Manchester United means to millions of fans around the world. Owners who want to win trophies, not just maximize profits. Until these things change, we will keep seeing situations like this. And that is unacceptable for a club of our stature. The silver lining. Despite all the anger and frustration this story brings, there is a silver lining. And it is this. Bruno Fernandes is still here. Our captain is staying. The heart of the team remains. He could have taken the easy option. He could have filled his bank account and lived in sunshine. But he chose the harder path. He chose to stay and fight for Manchester United. That tells you everything you need to know about his character. That shows you what kind of leader we have. And as long as we have players like Bruno, players who actually care about the shirt they wear, there is hope. There is a chance we can turn things around. Yes, the people at the top need to do better. Yes, things need to change at boardroom level. But on the pitch, we have a captain who bleeds for this club. Who wants to succeed here more than anything. Who is willing to sacrifice personal gain for team success. That is rare in modern football. That is special. That is what Manchester United has always been about. So while we should be angry about how Bruno was treated, we should also be grateful that we still have him. We should appreciate what he brings not just in goals and assists, but in leadership and commitment. And we should make sure he knows that the fans value him, even if some people at the club did not. Bruno's performance this season. Let me remind you just how important Bruno Fernandes is to this Manchester United team by looking at his performances this season. In the Premier League, only Erling Haaland has been involved in more goals than Bruno. He has 5 goals and 7 assists in 16 matches. That is 12 goal contributions already, and we are not even halfway through the season. In that crazy 4-4 draw with Bournemouth, Bruno both scored and assisted. He set up Casemiro's header with a perfect delivery. Then he scored a brilliant free kick. That was the second game in a row where he both scored and assisted, something he had not done since December 2020. His overall record at Manchester United is stunning. 103 goals and 93 assists in 307 games. That is nearly 200 goal contributions. For a midfielder. In 5 years. He is consistent. He is reliable. He shows up in big moments. He rarely gets injured. He plays almost every game. He is a leader on and off the pitch. These are the qualities you cannot replace. This is why selling Bruno would have been a massive mistake, no matter how much money Al Hilal offered. Thankfully, Bruno made the decision to stay. And now Manchester United need to make sure they build a team worthy of his commitment. What Amorim said. Throughout this whole saga, Ruben Amorim was clear about his position. He wanted Bruno to stay. He made that known publicly and privately. When asked about the Al Hilal interest, Amorim said he did not think Bruno would leave. He said Bruno wants to stay. Bruno is saying no to a lot of things, and that shows he wants to win at Manchester United. Amorim also said Bruno is really good and needs to be in the best league in the world. He backed his captain completely. And crucially, Amorim said yes, they can turn down a £100 million bid, saying they can find another way to earn money. That is the right attitude from the manager. He understands that some players are too important to sell. He gets that you cannot just replace quality with money. The fact that Amorim fought to keep Bruno, that he convinced him to stay through their conversations, shows that we have the right manager. Someone who knows how to handle big players. Someone who can make them believe in his vision. If Bruno stayed largely because of Amorim, that is a huge credit to the manager. And it shows that despite the difficult start results-wise, Amorim is building something here. He is earning the respect of the dressing room. He is making players want to fight for him. That gives me hope. Because if Amorim can keep Bruno committed, if he can make other players believe, then maybe we really can turn this around. The loyalty question in modern football. Bruno's situation raises bigger questions about loyalty in modern football. Is it even a thing anymore? Should players prioritize money or should they stick with clubs through difficult times? I think Bruno put it perfectly when he said loyalty is not viewed the same way it used to be. In today's game, players move around constantly. They follow the money. They chase the next big contract. Very few stay at one club for a long time. And you know what? I do not necessarily blame them. Careers are short. They need to look after their families. One bad injury and it could all be over. So I understand why players take the big money offers. But I also think there is something special about players who choose to stay. Who could leave but decide to stick around and fight. Who value what the badge represents more than what their bank account says. Bruno is one of those special players. And we should appreciate that. At the same time, loyalty has to work both ways. If a player is committed to the club needs to be committed to the player. You cannot expect loyalty if you are not willing to give it. That is where Manchester United failed in this situation. Bruno showed loyalty by staying. But the club did not show loyalty back by making him feel valued and wanted. That imbalance needs to be fixed. Because if we keep treating loyal players like they are disposable, eventually they will stop being loyal. And then where will we be? Looking ahead. So what happens next? Where do Manchester United and Bruno Fernandes go from here? In the short term, nothing changes. Bruno is here. He is committed. He will keep giving his all for the team. His contract runs until 2027 with an option for another year. We have him for the foreseeable future. But the club needs to learn from this. They need to make sure Bruno feels valued going forward. Not just with words, but with actions. Build a team around him. Give him the support he needs. Show him that staying was the right decision. And when the next big offer comes, because it will come, make sure the response is different. Make sure Bruno knows that Manchester United wants him here. That they see him as essential. That they are not just thinking about the transfer fee. Long term, this situation needs to be a wake-up call for everyone at the club. The owners. The board. The executives. They need to understand that Manchester United is not just a business. It is not just about maximizing profits. It is about winning trophies. About honoring the history and traditions of this great club. About treating players with respect and loyalty. About putting the team first. If the people at the top cannot understand that, then maybe they should not be running Manchester United. Final thoughts. The Bruno Fernandes transfer saga has shown us two very different sides of Manchester United. On one side, we have the captain. The player who turned down incredible money to stay and fight. The leader who puts the club before himself. The professional who gives everything on the pitch even when he feels undervalued of it. On the other side, we have the board. The executives who seemed ready to cash in on our best player. The decision-makers who lack the courage to be honest. The people running the club who apparently value money more than loyalty. This contrast could not be clearer. And it shows exactly what is wrong at Manchester United right now. We have great players. We have a good manager. We have passionate fans. What we do not have is people at the top who truly understand what this club should be about. That needs to change. Because players like Bruno Fernandes do not come along very often. And when you have someone like that, someone who genuinely loves the club and wants to succeed here, you do everything you can to support them. You do not make them feel like you would rather have the money. Bruno stayed despite the doubts. Despite the feeling that he was not truly valued. Despite an offer that would have set up his family for life. He stayed because he loves Manchester United. Because he believes in Ruben Amorim. Because he has unfinished business. Now it is up to everyone else at the club to make sure he does not regret that decision. It is up to the board to show they value him. It is up to the team to win trophies. It is up to the fans to keep supporting him. Because if we lose Bruno Fernandes, we lose the heart of this team. And right now, we cannot afford to lose anything else. Keep following United Daily Updates. That is everything you need to know about Bruno Fernandes' shocking revelation about Manchester United wanting him to leave. It is a story that should make every United fan both proud of our captain and angry at our board. If you want to stay updated on all Manchester United news and analysis, subscribe to United Daily Updates on YouTube right now. We cover every story, every match, every decision that matters to real United fans. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Join our community of supporters who care deeply about this club and want to see us succeed. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Are you angry at how the club treated Bruno? Are you proud that he stayed? What needs to change at boardroom level? I want to hear your thoughts. Together we will keep following Manchester United through the highs and lows. Through the good decisions and the bad. Through the disappointments and hopefully the triumphs. Because that is what being a United fan means. Sticking with your club. Supporting the players who give everything. Never giving up hope that better days are coming. Thanks for reading. See you in the next update. Glory, glory, Man United.